Good day, radio listeners. Welcome to this edition of the Pure Sex Radio broadcast. We're glad to have you here with us. My name is Jonathan, and I'm here with Steven Cervantes. So, my good friend, how are you?
I'm glad to be here.
Good.
It's always fun.
Yeah.
I love this stuff. You know, people say, don't you get tired of it? Wow, isn't it heavy and a burden? It's like, no, it's not my life that's a mess. I'm doing fine, you know?
That's right, yeah. So, listeners, before we get started, I just want to let you know about a platform for training that we have developed and that we're continuing to grow. It's called our Pure Life Academy, and we're really excited about this. We've already got a few courses on there, and as we continue to partner and network with other ministries and leaders, more and more content will be showing up on there, but it's really a place for getting training in the area of sexual integrity, and then also for leaders to be able to know, hey, how can I get training in these areas as well? So if you go to purelifeacademy.org, you can see our programs that are up there and plug into one of those courses. And again, there will be more and more content that comes up on there throughout the months and years ahead. So Stephen, we're going to pick up kind of where we left off last time. So why don't you get our listeners up to speed on the story of this particular gentleman? We've kind of had it's been kind of cool. We've sort of been able to see this guy's life over time, and we had an initial 2-part broadcast on his awakening that occurred actually in our 2017 broadcast. So if you actually go to puresexradio.com and go to the full archive section, then November 25th and December 2nd of 2017, we had a 2-part series called The Moment of Awakening, and that was actually the foundation of this guy's story. This was the original part of this guy's story, but now we're doing a part 2. What do we call it? My second awakening?
My second awakening.
So why don't you get us caught up, and then we'll keep going, because there was a kind of a very interesting sort of snag that
We're
this
building
guy
up
hit.
here
Yes.
in the story. So first of all, I got to thank this gentleman who went to Gateway Weekend, and he said, yes, you can tell my story. We always protect men, but our stories we share. And so I said last time that this one man's story will bless 1,000 men. And I want to repeat that, because that's what this is about. It's not about me. It's not about Jonathan. Mm-hmm. It's about men blessing men. And we take a little feeble effort here, and we offer it up to the Lord, and he just multiplies like crazy. And so I'm going to say thank you again to the man who said, yeah, you can use my story, because it's a gift to God to bless other men. So thank you for that. So he says, this is my second awakening. It's 9 months after my first awakening. And we're into the story. You got to go listen to the first part if you missed it. But he said, I started strong, but I didn't stay strong. Little chores and busyness fill my day, and my marriage started to drift downward. And in that gap, the old stuff comes up again. I felt alone. I felt empty. And we were disconnected. And that's a bad formula in a marriage. Because I got distracted, and my old stuff called back to me, and my mind wandered back to fantasy and escaping and making up fun stories in my head of how life should be and how it can be wonderful. And he said, one stupid moment I crossed the line. I made a sexual mistake. And when I woke up, my first thought was, oh, no. And then my second response was to get angry. I was angry at myself. I was angry at my wife. I was angry at God. And I hoped that everything would quietly just blow over. But instead there was a big announcement. My wife said, I'm done. I'm done. No more. So humbly, I put some stuff together and I moved out. And I went back to my mom's house, and I was angry for about a week. This isn't fair. I don't deserve this. This isn't right. Then it dawned on me, I'm stuck again. This is me and my anger. I'm stuck. I shook myself. Stop the old sad thinking. It's time to go back to emotional growth and finish the emotional work that I started 9 months ago. I knew I was angry, but angry at what? What was a major theme in my life for which I was angry? Because anger was always around, and anger was my solution. Anger was my friend. Anger was a part of me forever. And I thought about it, and it's hard to admit.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there.
Yeah.
There's buildup.
Yes.
He's about to, just so you know, you guys can't see the piece of paper that we're looking at, but there's going to be a major line here, a major revelation here in this guy's life. But before we actually make the statement of the revelation, I want to unpack what just happened here in the relationship.
Good.
Because he blew it, meaning he messed up.
He was good for 9 months.
Mm-hmm. And so I want to unpack that, because I think there's a moment within this moment, right? We call this the second awakening. Some of it is, I think, what he even realized in that mess up. He had the first reaction of, "Oh no," right? And I think all of us, whenever we mess up, we have that realization. There's like an awakening that happens after we mess up, right? That says, "Wait a second, that wasn't what I was meant for. That's not what I'm supposed to do."
Yeah.
Oh no. And I think wrapped up in that "oh no" was everything he said about where his disappointment and anger was directed in terms of himself, his wife, even his God. And I think it's important to acknowledge that, because so many times we want to rush past that to the solution, right? Hey, what are you supposed to do to solve your mistake there, Stephen?
Yeah, right. Let's just fix it so it doesn't happen again real quick.
Yeah.
Let's just do A, B, and C. That's all. Okay, good.
And maybe I'm wrong here, and you're much more of the emotional expert than I am. But is it maybe helpful, being a child of God, to be still after we have messed up and simply learn to, like we talked about in the last broadcast, of what do you do in an emotional moment? Well, there needs to be presence.
Yes.
And what if we did this in terms of a receiving way? What if we said, I'm going to get still enough so that I can experience the presence of God, so that I can receive the comfort that he has for me, because he says, as far as the east is from the west, so far have I removed your sins from you, and do not hold them against you. And so then also in that moment, can I receive the help that he wants to offer me in that moment? So I think it's important to sort of analyze and be willing to stop and pause in that moment of awakening right after we fail. Because we want to, I think as men many times too, we want to go towards solution. And sometimes what we want to do is we want to go towards manipulating the next outcome.
Yes.
Like, okay, how am I going to say this to my wife so that she doesn't freak out? Or how am I going to confess? How am I going to
minimize it, make it smaller? It wasn't that bad. It was just a little. It was just one time. I'm better.
How am I going to protect my reputation? And all those
all
kinds
that
of things.
stuff. Yeah.
Instead of just stopping, part of emotional health is saying, yes, I failed. God, I'm laying it before you. I need your presence. I need your help. I need your comfort.
See,
right
I
now.
love that, to go to the presence of God and just sit there and let him comfort you, right? Just be still, be mindful, say, and actually a mistake on his part was when he felt alone and restless and discontent and disconnected, right? He should have been working on spiritual growth, and he should have gone to find his wife.
And part of that too, if we back up even before the failure, this is a point of instruction for us as men, right? When we start to recognize those feelings of emptiness and loneliness and anger and fear, those are triggers that we need emotional connection with our spouse.
That's right.
And so if we can begin to be more trained to reach out and say, I'm feeling angry, I'm feeling alone, I'm feeling scared,
Well, and that's the prayer. God, I feel so alone right now. Let me just enjoy your presence.
Yeah.
I got to tell you something.
But I wanted to say, don't forget your thought.
Yeah.
But I wanted to say something about that, though. I have seen in my own life as well as in other men's lives, almost a way of hiding behind that spiritual connection from actually saying those things to our wives.
No, you lost me.
So
Hiding and
the
not
idea of
saying,
you saying, hey, no, it's good to go to God and say, hey, I'm feeling these things
Yeah.
and all that. But sometimes I think what men have done is they think that's only what they need to do. Is I just need to go to God and say these things, instead of realizing, no, I also need to say this to my wife.
oh yes,
I need to say that I'm feeling scared and I don't know what to do. And
Yeah, no, that's
Because-
why I said both.
yeah,
We got to be honest and do our spiritual work.
because a lot of guys
and
will
then
hide
our-
behind the spiritual.
They'll do half.
you know,
You're
and-
saying,
yeah,
but they won't do the relational and say,
Right.
I'm feeling lonely now. I'm feeling sad. Can we just talk about what's going on? I feel so disconnected from you, right? Close the gap. When you feel that feeling, figure out what's healthy to do with that feeling instead of escape.
And even when we do, like in this guy's case, I mean, even if we respond to that failure moment in a way of going to God and getting his presence and comfort and help, doesn't mean that your wife isn't going to say, I'm done. It doesn't mean that there may not be separate. It doesn't mean that the
Right.
circumstance
Yeah,
in the
has a happy
relationship is
ending,
going to
you're
be
done.
great.
Yeah,
But I think all we're trying to do here, if you kind of understand this whole thing, all we're trying to do here is look at the issue of emotional development. Like, what does it take?
Yeah.
And again, just a reminder to the listeners and viewers that when we say emotional development, we mean emotional spiritual
absolutely.
development, right?
So let me go back to that, because yesterday morning I was at a breakfast. No, it was 2 days ago. But Gary Smalley's son
you were there? Oh,
is
yeah, of course
Greg
you were, yeah.
Smalley,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so that's right. You were there.
Yeah, we were there.
So we were both there. Duh. So, and was that not powerful what he said? My takeaway was, we want to be loved, and we're in search of love. But what if God loves us, and that's enough?
Mm-hmm.
What if our craving for God, our craving for love, is first answered by God?
Yeah.
And so that it's like he said, we don't have a hole that has to be filled. People walk around, I got a hole in my heart, I have a hole in my heart. It's like, no, you want to be loved.
Mm-hmm.
And God's already ready, waiting to fill that.
He's already demonstrated that. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
already done that.
That is so incredible for every man listening out there. Think about this. You're hungry to be loved, and you go out there desperately trying to grab it and find it and take it. But what if God so loves you, and he can be buddies and have a great relationship, and then you're whole. Then you can go to your wife whole and add to, instead of go to her with this deficit that she has to fill, and then she's humanity, so she doesn't do a great job. And I just love that thought, that God is the first place, and that, it's funny, because as you get older, you can really know that. When you're younger, it's hard to know. No, I need a friend to love me. No, not just a God. I need a friend.
Yeah.
But as you get older and you're on this journey longer, you realize, oh my goodness, it is just God and I. We're on this long walk together. He is here with me. It's just powerful.
Mm-hmm.
I love that thought that he shared.
And so then, when this guy then gets to this
back to the story.
critical
Oh, that's
understanding,
right. We were telling
no,
you
I
that
think it's
story.
good. I mean, all of these side conversations are not disconnected from this guy's story. So,
No, that's good.
but so he's gonna have this major revelation, right?
Yes.
Because what he's trying to do now is he's trying to say, what am I so angry at? Why am I so angry?
Yes.
What's the theme? So what did he conclude?
So he said, what was the major theme? I had to ask myself, I'm angry. I carry this anger. And I had to admit to myself, and he said, okay, here goes. I have resented my mother forever. I have resented my mother. She was a cold, hard mom. I never felt loved by her. And I never felt loved by anyone. He said, I know anger. I don't know love. I would often find myself pissed off at my wife and my home and my God, and just pissed off at others. But underneath the anger has always been this boy crying out to be loved. And as I reflect, I realize I do not know love or comfort. I don't comfort myself, and I do not comfort my wife. And as a young boy, my life was stressful, and there was no comfort.
So I want to unpack this idea of comfort. First of all, he realizes he's got this major lifelong resentment against his mom, and that's kind of the undergirding of the anger issue. But I find it interesting that he finally also realized that that is connected to this issue of no comfort. And when I hear the word comfort, especially in this context of what he's saying there, another word that comes to my mind that may be helpful for our listeners too is the word peace.
Peace,
Because I really
rest.
think when you think of
Absolutely.
comfort, it's not. The reason I wanted to say that word is because I think sometimes in our modern culture, when we think of comfort, we think of convenience and pleasure. And I tend to think of comfort on a soul level, much
Yes.
more in a deeper peace. Like
Yes.
I'm at rest. I'm not.
Yes.
I'm not. Like he says, my boy life was stressful.
Was stress. It was probably fighting and anger. Who knows? We haven't found out yet.
So it's interesting that he realizes that, man, this lack of love caused stress that led to anger. Stress meaning no comfort, that led to this long-term resentment and anger.
And you
So-
know what? You can decode anger in this story as I need something. I'm not going to get it. I'm going to be pissed off about it, and I'm gonna walk around and I'm going to protect myself. I'm going to be angry. I'm going to be angry at you first. I'm going to be angry. I'm not going to look for love or comfort. I'm just going to be angry. You can see the tool that he's using everywhere he goes, right? If he doesn't like you, get put out with you, I'm angry. You know what I mean? He's angry with God. But you understand it's like a cheap substitute for what he really wants.
Right.
But you can't do nothing in life. You have to do something. So you do anger, but what you really want is rest and comfort and love. But if it's not offered, you got to be strong. And anger is strong.
Let me ask you a question for the help of our listeners. I can imagine that there's some listeners out there that are going, okay, so this guy came to this conclusion that his underlying theme for anger in his life was his resentment of his mother. How does one come to that conclusion? How does one understand, like, what does it take for a person to
dig down,
to
deep
understand
enough or
then,
something.
wow, I can get that much clarity on a statement of what's underneath it? Because I do feel like there's a lot of listeners out there. I mean, I was this way myself. How do you get to that level of understanding the foundation of your anger or your fear or?
But you got to peel it back, right? Was I angry yesterday? Yep. The day before? Yep. How far does it go back? Was I angry in high school? Yep. Was I angry in middle school? Yep. Was I angry in grade school? Okay. And so you just peel it back. Where does the anger start, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then what he did was, remember, he had been journaling thoughts and doing all this work. Then he stopped doing it. But in the moment of crisis, he had to take an honest look at himself, right? If you're using something like control or perfectionism or anger, if you're using something, that's a tool you found to survive. That's never part of your original design.
Mm-hmm.
It's just something you're doing because it made you strong and powerful and gave you a place and you didn't get run over in life.
Yeah.
Right? So he had to go back. What am I mad about? What am I mad about? It's a great question to go back. We don't know ourselves very well.
Right.
And so slow down and learn yourself better. And I think you're right. You have to go through it. It took a crisis. He's stripped wide open. He's probably in a prayerful mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And he's saying, what am I angry about? When does it start?
Okay, we want to keep going because
Yeah,
this
yeah,
is about
yeah,
the
yeah.
second
I'm keeping you
awakening,
on
right?
track,
This
right?
is the second awakening. So
So one day I'm sitting in the living room at my mom's house, and I decide to tell her my thoughts. And so I say, Mom, I don't know how to offer comfort to other people. I don't know how to comfort others. And she starts to tear up, and she says, I'm not good at offering comfort either. Then I start to cry, and I put my head in my mom's lap, and we both weep. For the first time in my life, Mom comforts me. I rested so peacefully in her comfort. At the same time, my spirit jumped. I found the missing piece. It was like a puzzle in my life, and I found the one piece that was missing. And we kept talking. Mom said, No, I told Mom, I never felt close to you. In fact, Mom, I felt emotionally abandoned by you. You were not there for me. You never enjoyed me, Mom. I don't know you, and you don't know me. And Mom responds, I'm not good at being close or nurturing. I know I always keep you at arm's length. I keep everyone at arm's length. Remember the theme of their life. Here's Mother's theme. Keep everybody away. Maybe she's not angry, but she uses distance, right? This is a broken emotional system. I keep everyone distant. I never learned closeness or comfort as a child either. So I don't offer comfort. Even at my age, I still find nurturing and closeness difficult. And then she went on, and she shared some more thoughts. I know how to act strong. I needed to be strong growing up, and then I just stayed strong in my adulthood. It's funny, I see myself acting strong even when I don't need to. There is something I want you to know. My strength protected you. Dad was gone a lot, but I was always there. And when Dad was home, he drank heavily, and then he got mean and aggressive. And my strength protected you. What do you think?
Well, there's a lot here. I mean, what a healing moment. I mean, I even started tearing up when it says that he put his head in her lap and they started to weep. I mean, what a healing moment.
Yes.
I mean, you talked about earlier, I totally agree with Greg Smalley and the idea that, listen, we don't have, God has filled that hole in our, God is the one that can, that has demonstrated love, perfect love for us. And so we don't need to be clamoring in a needy, clingy sort of way for love that God has already shown to us. But there is something necessary and healing in mother-child relationship,
Yes.
father-child relationship, that we don't want to dismiss the reality of the gift and the importance that there is for healing and comfort in those relationships.
But isn't that the reflection of the Father's love too?
Yes,
I
yeah.
mean, you can see this tender moment, right? And it's a spiritual moment.
And it's a healing
Yes.
moment. Yeah, exactly.
Keep going. Were you going somewhere else, or
No, I want to see what happens next. there seems to be unending pages here of how much this story. It's pretty awesome.
Okay. My strength protected you.
That's what she said. Yeah.
That's right. He said that statement shocked me. Her strength was used for my protection. Wow. I thought it was just there to keep me away. My past started to make sense. I just sat there like a little boy enjoying his mother. This was a first. The mother continued. I just did not know how to turn off my strength. Sometimes I was strong when I didn't need to be. Being strong is all I know. Then she cried. Then I cried. Healing was happening. Suddenly I understood, and there was great clarity about why we were never close. My life had been a puzzle. I knew there was a missing piece. Suddenly, there was a great joy. I was finding the missing piece. My anger left. Hope rose. It was the first time in 29 years that my soul was at rest. Today, I felt the love of a mother. Mom kept herself safe by using her anger and distance to survive in her own life. She became strong to survive growing up in her family. She needed to stay strong with a traveling, drinking husband. Mom kept being strong even with her own children. So this is my second awakening. I have served others, often acting in the role of caretaker, but I do not know how to take care of myself. I do not know how to self-soothe. Today, a new door opens. I must learn to self-soothe, to rest, which is the opposite of being angry and restless. Then I will know how to soothe my wife and my children. My marriage has suffered from my strength, anger, and distance. I close this writing with this new mission statement. To be fully developed, I need to learn closeness, rest, and self-soothing. Oh, and there's a second closing thought. I hope there are more awakenings ahead.
That is awesome. So I want to make a couple of comments here about this second awakening. You know, when he says, I don't know how to self-soothe, I wrote a little note out next to that, without acting out.
Oh, yeah, that's
So
right.
the
That's
idea
the
the old way of self-soothing is I
Yes.
go act out because what
Yes.
do? I don't know. I don't know what to do with my anger. I don't know where it originates. I don't know what to do. And so what I learned along the way was the only way that I can self-soothe is to go out, act out sexually.
Yeah, and that's the soothing. It really does soothe you for a moment.
It soothes you for a moment, but it also creates that understanding that I'm empty, I'm emotionally underdeveloped, I don't know how to receive comfort or give comfort.
And it
all
doesn't
those kinds
heal
of things.
you,
It doesn't.
right?
Yeah, there's no sense of peace in your being from that. And so this experience he had with his mom, like you said, I think it really is, it's almost like a physical manifestation of the kind of comfort that God gives to us. And so the other thing that I wanted to point out here was just him recognizing how the wounds from his past have perpetuated wounds through him to his family. And I think this is important for our listeners. I think it's important for all of us to hear is that, whatever cycle from our past that we have picked up, we have the power through God and in Christ to change that cycle moving forward.
That's right.
That's hopeful. So whatever you picked up or whatever was dumped into your life, whatever wounds occurred, even as you seek to discover, like he did, what's this core issue to my anger? Even if there isn't a resolution with your parents or whatever like his was, there can still be healing and a change of the cycle moving forward because you're choosing to not only recognize and acknowledge these are the things that happened, this is how it's affected
My
me,
story, yeah.
but
that's
I'm
what
going to move
happened to me.
forward making different decisions, and I'm going to move forward learning how to experience closeness, rest, and self-soothing in healthy
And
ways.
so remember what I said, we pick up a tool, right? Everybody picks up one tool. He picked up anger, right? But would that ever really work in his marriage and with his kids? And mother picked up being strong. I have to be strong. And I mean, her situation, no telling where she came from, right?
Yeah.
And so we have to look at ourselves and say, what is that one thing we do that helps us and hurts us? Because anger has a place,
Yes.
right? And it's okay to be angry, right? It says be angry, it's not. But when you misuse that and use it too often, too long, at the wrong time, right? So everybody has to look at what tool. And if I want to disclose a little bit here, it's like I'm a caretaker or peacemaker. And it's like, oh, what do you want me to do? What can I do? It's like I have to be careful that I don't use that tool wrongly, so that I'm always just the caretaker. No, stop sometimes.
Right.
Don't use that one first thing that works in your life, right? Part of your emotional development is what have you been overusing? Slow down so you can develop the other parts that you need: closeness, rest, acceptance.
So as we close out, listeners, I want to ask you a question. He talked about finally discovering that missing piece. So if you've been listening to these broadcasts and realize, man, I feel like there's a missing piece in my life. Maybe for some of you, that missing piece is Christ. Maybe you have never actually come into a personal relationship with Jesus Christ, and you're realizing that's first and foremost my missing piece. I don't have a relationship with God. And so if that's you, I'm going to invite you to trust in Jesus Christ as your only hope of being made whole in life and with God, and that's going to do tremendous things in giving you a sense of comfort, but also understanding maybe what are the foundations of maybe some of your triggers emotionally, anger, fear, those kind of things. Maybe you need to go on a journey. Maybe you need to see a counselor. Maybe you need to start to, as Stephen was saying, peel back the layers to figure out what the foundation of that is so that you can start moving forward. And then the final thing I'd invite you to do is ask yourself, what's your best next step moving forward in your emotional development? And we are here to help you with that. Please reach out to us. You can reach us at puresexradio.com or on Twitter at puresexradio. And until next time, we pray that you just continue to press on in your pursuit of holiness and emotional health. And we'll see you back here again next time on the Pure Sex Radio broadcast.
God bless.